Good morning, Houston County teachers. We are so excited to have you with us today. I am Megan Spigner, and I am one of your curriculum integration specialists. And today I have with me Larry Wadsworth, Lynn Hawkins, Kristen Honecker, and Michael Foss. And we are going to be covering a ton of content. So we will kind of move a little quickly. And the content that we're going to be covering, just make sure you're in the right session today. We have 3 sessions. The first session today, obviously, is right now. We've got another session at 11 that'll be covering some intermediate stuff, and then we've got another session at 1:30. I think Kristen has already put that in the chat. But today we're going to be covering in this session creating in Google Slides, some advanced form features, creating in YouTube, and using Zoom and virtual field trips. And we'll have some resources for you at the end. Now we're going to move quickly, so we're going to have the chat open and we'll be monitoring that as best as we can. There's a lot of you on here already. So if you have any questions, put those in the chat. But if we don't get to your question during the training today, go ahead and email us at cis@hcbe.net. Now, we will be recording this session. However, it will not be available to view until the end of today. We will email y'all all the resources that we're sharing and where you can find those recordings later today. So we're going to be looking at a video that we created on the expectations from Houston County for this school year. And then we'll see a testimony from a teacher, one of our very own, Tiffany Caparelli. She's going to tell you kind of what she used in a combination of digital resources. So the one adjustment I need to make with the expectations, it says MAPS is a 2-week time frame and it is going to be a 4-week time frame. So just keep that in mind as you're viewing that. And once you hear from Tiffany Caparelli, we'll dive right into this content. So let us know in that chat that you're excited to be here, and let's do this, y'all. Here are our Houston County instructional expectations for this school year. All schools should administer MAP the first 2 weeks of school. No graded assignments should be submitted to tools such as ClassDojo and Edmodo. These tools should only be used for communicating messages and reminders to parents and students. Pre-K students do not have the option to participate in distance-only learning. Secondary content coordinators are creating Google Classroom lessons for middle and high school courses. Elementary content coordinators are creating lessons using Google Drive for elementary teachers to pull lessons into their Google Classrooms. If schools close after face-to-face school has started, the Teaching and Learning Department will provide schools with guidelines for instructional minutes and grading. Now we know this school year is going to look a lot different than normal. We'll have a blended learning model with our face-to-face teachers. If you're an elementary face-to-face teacher, you'll be required to use Google Classroom for a minimum of 1 to 2 times a week and use school-level online learning programs such as iReady, iStation, and Star Reading. For our middle and high blended learning teachers, you'll be required to use Google Classroom a minimum of 2 times a week and use school-level online learning programs. For our distance learning teachers at the elementary level, you'll deliver instruction through Google Classroom and video conferencing along with iReady. Our middle and high distance learning teachers will assign lessons through OdysseyWare and deliver support lessons through video conferencing. Should we start face-to-face and transition to online learning for school closing, teachers will use the plans described for face-to-face blended learning along with video conferencing support lessons. These are our Houston County instructional expectations for this school year.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Caparelli and I'm a 4th grade teacher at Langston Road Elementary. I just wanted to share something with you that I love doing in Google Classroom, and that's book clubs. In my classroom at school, my students always love to get together and talk about the books they had been reading in book clubs, and so I incorporated that into Google Classroom by using Epic Books, which is an online platform that's free for teachers, and it has tons of leveled books for students that are available online. I'll teach a mini lesson to my students, and then I would send them to breakout rooms virtually to meet together with the members of their book club. To guide their instruction, they would use a Google Slides activity that they would jot their thinking throughout the week as they read, and this also helps guide their discussions. My students always love to get together virtually to talk about the books that they had been reading. It really promoted that classroom community outside of the walls of the classroom.
All right, guys, sorry about that little buzz. My apologies. We have to swap mic cables, and sometimes they just don't go together correctly. All right, well, good morning. This is Larry Wadsworth speaking. And as you can already see on my screen, we're about to talk about YouTube. But before I get into that, I just would like to reiterate something that Megan has also said already. And that is that for the maps, it is not 2 weeks. You have 4 weeks to get the maps is how done. That's how big the window will be. All right, and I did put in the chat, I've dropped out of chat while I'm doing my piece, but I will be back in there to help answer questions in chat after I get finished with this. So let's talk about YouTube, and since this is the advanced training, what we're going to talk about is creating YouTube content. So this is you recording yourself, recording your lessons, making your 5, 10, 15-minute mini lessons or walking through examples for your students so that they can, learn instead of as much as creating an assignment. This is more about creating those lessons. So a couple things I do want to mention before we really get into it. First of all, you should never, ever, 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 ever record your students. So don't record your students. The recording should be of you. They could be of your screen. They could be of a piece of paper and you're just filming the piece of paper as you're writing. That part's really not what's important. What's important is that it's your content and it's not students. So the other thing is when you make your recordings, do not have any copyrighted materials in them. So this means don't be playing your favorite music in the background. Don't make a recording of a video and show it. You're not allowed to just record a video and show that to your students through YouTube. That's breaking copyright. If you have copyrighted materials, don't be videoing those on YouTube. So some things on Teacher Bay Teachers, some of those materials are copyrighted. So you just need to be cognizant of that and be sure you're not putting anything copyrighted on there, because what happens, and it's basically automated, once you get so many copyright strikes, you're out and you're not be able to use your YouTube anymore. And that's something YouTube does. Our school district will not be able to do anything about that. All right, so here's what we're going to go over. We're going to show you how to create content on, for example, your teacher workstation, in other words, a Windows computer. We're going to discuss briefly about how to create content using your phone. I know there's so many different phones out there. This can be very, it's just varied a whole lot. So we won't get really deep into that, but we will talk about it in a minute. And then also, because you'll have the opportunity to get a Chromebook from the district, we're going to talk about how you can do it with a Chromebook. So we're going to go over a few things here: how to create the content, how to get it uploaded, and then how to share it. All really cool, simple things. So let's get started, and let's start with the Windows, your teacher's workstation, okay? So on your teacher workstation, you should have this little red cloud called My View Board. If you don't have it, or when you click on it, it doesn't open, you're just going to have to put in a work order to get that fixed. All right, so let's open this up real quick. And here's what is really, really great about this. And those of you who have already been trained on the My View Board software may remember this, is that down here at the bottom, there's this little gray screen capturing button. Click there and notice there's a video camera option. So when you click this, it will record whatever you say. You can see, because I've got a microphone plugged in right now, it's picking up my volume. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute that just so we don't have any weird feedback issues. So you do have to have a mic plugged in order to capture audio. You can either select an area or do your whole screen. And when you click on it, it'll say, well, which screen? So I want to be sure and you may not know which screen is which, and I'll show you how to tell which screen you're on in just a second. So I'll click screen 2, I'll click record, and it'll say, well, what resolution? Always like to go for the highest resolution. Let's go with full HD. Click check, and you see how I'm getting the countdown? I know I'm on the right screen. If I was on the wrong screen, I would just hit stop and then start it back over. So this will record not only what I do in my view board, but it'll also record anything I do on here. So for example, if you have one of the old gray boxy smart document cameras, those won't work in my view board. You need to look and see if you have this program right here called ImageMate. Then you could open up ImageMate and record anything being displayed through your document camera. If you have one of the newer document cameras, there would actually be a button if you click on this little box in my view board down here at the bottom. there's a little document camera button, and you'd be able to click that. So I don't have a document camera connected, but I do have other screens connected because we're doing the live stream, and I'd be able to pull them up right there. So anything you do, you could, pull up a website, whatever it may be. And when you're done recording, you simply click the stop button. Here's your little video. And I can just skip ahead and show you it was recording my desktop and everything I did. Hit the save button. So let's go to, so right here my video. So it's in my name and then video. So let's not forget that. Demo video. And we're going to save it. So it's going to save that. And there we go. So of course, if it was an actual lesson, I'd go on for 5-10 minutes. Try not to make it too long with video lessons. You're going to lose attention span. Most of our videos we make for y'all, we try to keep under 5 minutes. Break it down into segments for the kids. That's how you do it on a Windows machine. So you can use My View Board. One thing I will point out, let's bring the web browser back up. If we go to myviewboard.com, you'll sign in with Microsoft. It's going to take it, go through the little screens. There's a download button up here at the top. And so if you want this on your home computer, and it is a Windows computer, that's important, sorry, Apple people, right there, you can download this software. If you're new to the software, I do just want to point out there's the wiki, and there's also down at the bottom, there's a video center and a certification program. All three of those, the video center, wiki, and certification program, are great resources to help you learn to use this software. So that's on a Windows computer, how to create your content. You got the screen recorder built into My View Board. Record anything you want to, save the video. We'll get to uploading the video here in a few minutes. So real briefly, I'll talk about your cell phone. I know Megan sent out a video back in the spring about she took a box and had a hole in the top. I think it was a diaper box actually, and laid her phone on top so it would record whatever piece of paper she put underneath it, and then she would write on the piece of paper and it would record, and then she had that little video. And what's really nice is on your phone, you can take that video and then you can connect it. You can connect your phone to your computer and you can save it to your computer, and from there you can upload it into YouTube. So it's not a difficult process, but again, that process is going to be specific to your device, and it'll be different for Apple versus Android versus the different types of Android. Even if you've got an older Apple phone versus a newer Apple phone, that process will vary a little bit, but basically it's use the camera to record a video, take that video, get it to your computer, and then from there, once your video is on a computer, this is how easy it is. And again, we haven't got to Chromebook yet. This is how easy it is to do this. In YouTube, notice I'm signed in with my work account. That is very important. All of you are signed in with your work account right now, otherwise you wouldn't be able to watch this live stream. Sign in with your work account. There's a little plus that says create, upload video. I click there. It's going to take me to a little menu, select my file. So let's see, we said we saved that in the videos folder. There it is, demo video. These screens are super easy, guys. If you want to change the title, you change it right here. If you want to add it to a playlist, you can certainly do that, and you can put it on multiple playlists. Or if you want to create a new one, that button's right there for you. Be sure you mark that it is made for kids. And there's a little blurb about it right here on the screen, and this gets into being compliant with protection, or protecting the students and everything from inappropriate material. So mark that as yes, it's safe for kids. Next, screen number 2. We love this screen because you don't have to do anything here. Everything's grayed out. So we just hit next. And finally, visibility. Don't do private. The problem with private is you can only share it with a very few people, and you had to individually put those people's email addresses in the list. And it's limited to, I forget the exact number, but it's not very many. Generally, we say go with unlisted. That way people can't search for it, and unless they have the exact link to the video, they're not going to be able to find your video, which is how you're sharing it with your students, right? You're going to take this video, and you'll see in a little bit, embed it in a slide or embed it in a form as part of a quiz, and that's how students are going to be accessing it through Google Classroom. So you really don't have to worry about them searching for the video. They're going to have a spot to just click and directly access it. However, you can certainly make it public if you're okay with anybody out there being able to watch you do a lesson. So that is completely your option. Other than that, don't worry about the rest. Click save, and there we go. So this video is processing now. There's the link. I'm just going to hit close. I'll come back in a minute after we show you Chromebook how to get back to this screen so you know how to find this video. So what we'll do now, we're going to kind of go through that same process again. That's what's kind of really nice about this. You're going to see a lot of these same steps here again, but we're going to look at a Chromebook. So let's jump over to the Chromebook. And my Chromebook screen is black. Uh-oh, guys. Give me just a second. All right. All right. When one way fails, we have a backup. So let's see if this works. It's going to go rainbow real quick, guys. And no. All right, guys. Give me just a second to fix this issue, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, hopefully I've just about got it. I think my Chromebook is not displaying to a second screen, so I'm gonna double check that real quick. And we should be able to get this fixed in just a second. Thank you for sitting tight. Oh no, it does say mirrored. Can you go grab that end of the HDMI? All right, we got one more thing we're gonna try here. Give us just a second, guys. All right, guys, so the Chromebook just does not want to agree with us today for whatever reason. That's okay, because I can still basically show you the steps in Windows. And here's what you're going to do on a Chromebook. So a lot of you back in the, those of you who were with us back in the spring, you were trying to use Zoom to make recordings, and Zoom will not record on a Chromebook because it has to use cloud storage. But we have an easy way to record on Chromebooks. And you can actually use this method on a Mac computer, and you can even use it on an app or a Windows machine like right here. So on a Chromebook, here's how this will work. You will go to myviewboard.com and log in, and you have this classroom app right here. So here's how you're going to work this. You're going to go to myviewboard.com on your Chromebook. You can do this on your Windows machine at home if you don't want to install the MyViewBoard software, or if you've got a Mac at home. Go to myviewboard.com. Click on this classroom icon. Again, remember you sign in with your school email address and password. When you open this up, it's going to open up an online version of the MyViewBoard software. Up at the top is a recording button. You simply click record your screen. You say, well, which screen? I want to record right here, screen 1. So if you're in your classroom doing this and you want to record, your smartboard or your interactive flat panel instead of your main teacher computer, you just be sure that you select the correct screen there. Be sure you allow it to use your microphone, and then it's going to start recording. And so anything I do here, it will be recording not just on this screen. I'm recording my whole screen, so I can record anything back here as well. I can record my desktop, and all of that gets recorded. And when you're done, you simply click the little button, and it's going to pop up like this. Now on a Chromebook, what's really nice is because the Chromebook, when you're browsing files on your Chromebook, just like you browse files on a Windows computer, it's actually searching your Google Drive. So on a Chromebook, you can click right here to upload to your Google Drive, And you will be able to, and this is only on a Chromebook, this does not work on a Windows machine, go into YouTube and access that video and upload it. But because I'm on a Windows computer, I need to download it. So if you're on a Windows computer or on a Mac, hit download. If you're on a Chromebook, you're going to say upload to Google Drive. And so I'm going to download this real quick. So there we go. I want to show in folder just so I can see where this is. So this is in my downloads folder right there. So let's go grab that and walk through these steps one more time. So let's go into YouTube. So here we are, www.youtube.com, click the plus, upload video. We're going to select files. Now on a Chromebook, instead of this being, my documents and all this stuff, it's going to be your Google Drive, and you would go and grab the video. On this Windows machine though, remember that one's saved to videos, and it's this one right here. I can click open, and then just go through those same steps of naming it, mark it safe for kids, next, nothing to do on screen 2, I generally make it unlisted, hit save, and there we go. So unfortunately I couldn't show you the live Chromebook demo, don't know why it wasn't coming through, but the process is exactly what I just showed you. And so you can actually use the same process on a Windows machine if you just use the online version of MyViewBoard versus the desktop version. So the last thing I want to show you is after you've uploaded them, how do we get back to that screen where you can see all your videos? When you log into YouTube, click on your initial, and you're going to want to go to YouTube Studio right here. This will open up a new window, and on the left side we see videos. And right here is all of your videos. So here's the one that we just uploaded a few minutes ago, these two. I can click the little YouTube button so that I can pull it up on YouTube. I can grab that link, and then I can go take that into my Google Classroom, and I can put it on, an assignment or into a quiz or whatever I may need. And if I need to delete a video, I can simply check them off, go to actions, and delete them. So super easy to do to create that content and get them uploaded and all those things so you can use in other places. So that's where we're going with next on this is, well, how do we get these videos? Now that we've created our content, our lessons, our sample, whatever it may be that you want to record for your students, how do you get this to your students? And at this time, I am going to pass it over to Lynn, so give us just a second, and she will be presenting, and we're going to get started with Google Slides, guys, so hold tight.
I thought you said the mic. I thought you said mic. I was jiggling the mic. You said mouse. Please sit tight for un momento, por favor.
All right, guys, I know I promised you that you would go to Lynn next. What I'm going to do real quick to try to fix this video issue we're having, I'm going to have to restart the stream. You don't need to go anywhere. Just sit tight in chat and hold tight. And as soon as we have it restarting back up, we'll put it into chat. It should start back automatically for you. But as soon as it is back up and running, I'm going to put refresh in the chat and just refresh your screen. So give us just a minute to do this.
Good morning. This is Lynn Hawkins. I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about Google Slides. Megan is going to give you the ins and the outs. I wanted to show you some really good examples of Google Slides. We're actually wanting you to up your ante. Megan said take it up a notch yesterday. But instead of just having the same old humdrum, we want you to make it snazzy, spice it up, make it interactive. They actually call them hyper docs when you actually do something more than just putting your lessons, your notes up there. So I wanted to show you a couple of them that I found that were quite interesting. The first one was dealing with poetry. Media specialist, I always like anything dealing with reading. So on this particular one, I love the graphics. I like how they pop. And the second slide, it actually says you can watch the video and then answer some questions. So you can actually put a video link in here. And you can actually go to that video, and the child or the student will be able to have the book read to them, and then ask a couple of questions afterwards. And you could like leave blanks on here too for your kids to actually fill in information if you wanted to. The third slide says, hey, find a poem on this website. So you go to this website and they find a poem that they like. And there's a whole bunch of different things that they can choose from on here. Yesterday I saw one that said something about the old lady, and I was like, that seemed like it was appropriate. Today, I see one that says the dentist and the crocodile, and that one seems pretty interesting to me. But regardless, you pick a poem, you practice reciting it, and you could even have them, here's a switch, have them actually memorize the poem and videotape it, and they could upload it as part of the lesson. And see how they pronounce the words. If they've got it, they might have to look up some of the words if they're younger. And they could do that with, going to just Google and searching and using the dictionary in Google. The fourth slide on this particular Google template has where the students can actually make their own poem and upload it. So that one was cool. And then I like the last slide too, because it had where you could actually upload it, and then it had a place where they could click and watch what their friends were doing. So that's really neat. Now, like I said, this is just taking what you've got and just taking it up a notch and making it interactive, making it stand out. What does RB say? Different is good. So try something different. Another one that I saw that I liked, and again, former media specialist, you always love the Goosebumps. The kids were always wanting to check those out. The 5th graders, the 6th graders, they love those. And let's see, the graphics on this one were really good. It had a really cool cat video on there, and it dawned on me this morning, I never really thought about it before, but Scaredy Cat. And this cat in this video is literally scared to death, and his pupils just dilate and get so big, and he ends up jumping. But the kids can watch the video, and then you ask them some questions. What makes you jump with fright? What makes your heart race? What gets you spooked? And they can just go through here, and I really like it because, again, your graphics are great. You're questioning them. You're getting them to get involved and interact with this. And instead of just black and white gets boring. These kids are so used to they watch YouTube videos, TikTok stuff all the time. So why in the world do we want to just, put lessons up there and have them turn in something? That's just boring. Let's take it up. So anyway, this one I like. Here's examples of some Goosebump and just 2 sentences, some Goosebump scary stories. Put back the mirrors, we miss watching you. That's kind of scary if you think about it. And so you would actually type it in. And type in 50, and the student can do this for each one of these slides, and that could be like an easy assignment for them. And we will provide these templates, by the way, too, so don't think that we're just showing you stuff and we're not going to give it to you at the end. Social studies one, there were a lot of good social studies ones, but the one that I liked the most was, it's an election year. I don't know if you know that or not. I don't know if you've heard. I know we've had so much other things on our mind, but it is. And we actually have access to this in SSO. It's called iCivics. And on one of these slides on this, I think it was, let's go down 2 more. There it is. On this particular slide, it has a picture of Obama dropping the mic. And he says, click on the link below. Bet you can't beat the 365 electoral votes that I got in 2008. And so you click down here, and it's going to take you to iCivics. It would actually take the kids there. And this is like the neatest little thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life, not kidding you. You get to be the president of the United States. And you get to pick your avatar. And you get to pick your platform. You get to pick all kind of stuff. So what grade are you in?
There you are.
Oh yeah. And the character, I love this. I mean, this is so interactive. The kids were just, I'm telling you. But I don't know if you can see, they're kind of grayed out, but you pick your character, you get, what do you call that, an avatar, and you pick your platform, your issues, and then you actually get to have a debate. And then at the end, you see who wins. So, I mean, talk about thinking outside the box. That is fab. But Megan has a whole bunch more examples. We actually have like several websites where we found a lot of these hyper templates, and we want to share them with you. But before we do that, Megan's going to show you actually how to build one of these from the ground up. So is it okay if I hand it over to you, Megan? You ready?
Yes.
Megan says she is ready, so I'm going to stop.
Hey y'all. Okay, thank y'all for being so patient with all of our technical issues coming in. I know y'all know that feeling. Maybe we can swap some stories later if we have time. But now let's go ahead and dive into slides, y'all. So back in the spring, we were all kind of just figuring it out as we went. A lot of you probably started with Google Classroom, and then you probably added either a PowerPoint, or maybe you even created a slide within an assignment. Now today we're going to talk about how to create different slides in a different way. So the very first way, first of all, let's talk about how we access slides, all right? And I'm not gonna go through every little detail in slides. I'm just gonna show you what I think is the most important for you to create some stuff in Google Slides. Now in the chat, I wanna see what y'all know about slides already. Who has used it, how you have used it, have you done it through Google Classroom and done an assignment? Or have you used it really more as a presentation piece, maybe on some of your Zooms? Y'all drop it in the chat, and I've got a slight lag, so I'll wait for those to come through, and I'll kind of talk to y'all about how you access Google Slides. So here we go. The first way is up here in the right-hand corner, you've got your little app launcher. You've got, we call it the waffle, the grid. I can click on it, and I have slides right here, all right? So again, the grid and slides. Now you could go into your Google Drive, and if you come back to our basics training later today, you will get to know a little bit more about Google Drive. And I can right click within Google Drive in this little white space, and I can access Google Slides from here. Or I can come over to the left-hand corner where it says New, and I can click on that and select slides from there. Now, my favorite way, y'all, is to open a tab within your Chrome browser. I'm gonna click New Tab, or you can say Control-T. And this is, y'all, you can do this with Google Slides, Google Docs, Forms. I'm gonna type in slides.new. And that is how you can create a Google Slide presentation. All right, so pretty cool. You've got 3 different ways. I love seeing how you used slides last year, drag and drop. Love that idea, virtual classroom within slides. Awesome, y'all. So what I want you to do now is tell me how you're gonna open slides. Are you going to use the app launcher, the grid? Are you going to go within Google Drive, or are you going to use the new the slides.new? Y'all type that in the chat for me. All right, so a couple things with Google Slides right here. You can change the theme over here by clicking on something and it'll apply it to the entire presentation. You can also come up to the left-hand corner where you can add new slides. And if right to the right, you can change the layout. And I want y'all to tell me, what does this remind you of? You already know a product out there that you've probably used for years that you already know. You already know some of this, all right? So I'm deleting some of that. I'm hoping y'all are gonna tell me PowerPoint in the chat too, because y'all should know some of these buttons already, all right? I'm gonna undo my theme. Let's see. Undo, 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 undo. And there's my blank template. All right, so let's talk about maybe changing this up a little bit. Maybe you don't want to use a theme. And y'all, the hottest topic I think we had back in the spring was how to make things that you already are using, like worksheets or resources that you're pulling from either Teachers Pay Teachers or even Teaching and Learning may have provided some things. How can you take that and make it digital? How can you edit those things and make it to where kids can interact with it? That's what we're going to focus on first. So I've got this nice blank workspace, and I'm going to come up here to the left-hand corner where it says File. And down at the very bottom, we're going to talk about the page setup. So you can change the theme, and we can also change the page setup. I'm going to change this widescreen to custom. A huge hot topic back in the spring was how do I take a PDF and make it interactive. I'm going to do 8 by 10. I'm going to change those dimensions and I'm going to apply it. So now I have this nice portrait, not PowerPoint, a slide. Now I can actually import some things in here, all right? So let's bring in a PDF. Now some of you may think, oh, let me come up here to insert an image. And y'all, I don't know if you noticed, when I hover over all of these icons, it tells me exactly what it is. Now you have these other drop-down menus, so I can come up here to insert image, or I can come over here to this little icon, insert image. Now there's a lot of ways you can insert images, and I can upload from my computer or search the web. Those are probably, these top 3 are my favorites. So I'm gonna upload something from my computer. I've taken a snapshot of my PDF. We can talk about that a little bit later if we have time. So you take a picture of your PDF and you can bring it into your Google Slide. Now, what's important to know about this is that when your kids, if you start putting text boxes in here and you have your kids trying to come in and interact, what's it gonna do? It's gonna move all the way around, and that's gonna be frustrating to them, right? So instead of inserting your PDF on top of this, we wanna set it as the background. So I know the natural thing for you would be insert image. Well, we want it to stay in place, so we're gonna use this background button. So I'm gonna click on Change Background in my little menu, and then I'm gonna choose my image. Now again, you get your options of where you can upload these things from. I'm gonna upload from my computer. I'm gonna click PDF Demo, click Open. And then now I'm gonna click Done, that yellow button. So now when I come in here, this PDF isn't going anywhere. So it's just a picture that you've set to the background, all right? So when we're talking about making a PDF editable, we're gonna come here to background instead of insert image. Now, how can we kind of make this interactive for your kids? How can they actually use this? Y'all, you're gonna wear some of these buttons out. So this text box right here, this text box button, I'm gonna click on it, and I can come over here and draw my little text box over where they would normally be writing. So I could leave it just like that, right, and hope that they click on the right spot, or I can help my kids out a little bit. And I can notice how when I click to the side, all of my icons disappear. But if I click on that that text box, you'll be able to actually get more options. So I'm gonna come over here to, maybe I wanna give them a border so that they know there's a text box there. That looks okay, but we can make it a little bit better. I'm going to change the fill color. So I'm going to click on the little paint bucket, and maybe I want it to be green. So now my kids, y'all, you would have to teach your kids how to interact with this. Maybe that's a lesson y'all go over when you first start doing this. Maybe your kids remember some of it from their teachers last year. So they would have to come in here and click on it, and they would be able to double click and type. But we could also go a step further, making this editable, and say type here. So they know what's in here. They know, okay, I'm supposed to come in here, double click, and they can delete and start working with it. Now, what about the rest of this? Well, y'all, instead of me coming up here, clicking on this, and making all of those text boxes, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. And I am going to select the text box that I've already got set up. And notice how it's blue around the edges with the little nodules. I'm going to hit on my keyboard, I'm going to hit the Control D key. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, Control C and then Control V. Nope, cut those out. I got one step. Control D for you. That's going to duplicate it. Now, this blue box that's around it, I'm just dragging and dropping the little nodules to make it a little bit bigger. Now, another idea behind this, and again, I'm going to hit, how do I copy this? I could say Control C or Control V, or I could do Control D again. I can go ahead and have some of this already created for them. So I could, instead of having them come in here and just type, I could go ahead and have the answers over here, beginning, answer. So maybe you have a sequence that you want them to work with, or maybe you're working with diagrams and you could give them all the tools out to the left and right side, and those will stay there. And maybe you want your kids to drag and drop it over here so that they can work with the PDF in that way. Another idea with PDFs, you don't have to just do text boxes. You can actually insert images. So I'm going to come up here to my little mountain icon, click on Insert. Now we talked about upload from computer. Let's talk about searching from the web. This would be a great time to go over keyword searching skills with your kids. I think it's always a best practice to put clip art at the end of it when you're searching with kids. But let's say you're doing this on the back end, and let's say you're doing a book, clip art. You can come in and search, and it's going to do a Google search real quick for you. So I can choose multiple images at one time. So maybe I click on this one, and notice how there's a little blue check mark in the left-hand corner, and down here it tells you how many pictures you've selected, and you can click Insert, and that would bring it over. I don't want 2 images, so I'm going to click Insert that way. And again, you can resize this so it matches your PDF, and you can bring them to the side where your kids can drag and drop and interact with it that way. Now I'm going to come back over here to, instead of using the picture icon, I'm going to come up here to my Insert menu and click Image. So I'm trying to show you all the different ways you can insert images. Everyone has their own way. And I'm going to search the web again. And notice how it pulls in my last search. I love that feature. That's really helpful when your kids are in here working. So a book, clip art, let's do eye, glasses, clip art. And let's say I can also bring in images by dragging and dropping. And see how it said creating images? So there's 2 ways to bring in images to a PDF. All right? And again, they can drag and drop and work with the PDF that way. All right, so that's the hot topic. And y'all, I should have done this to begin with. Anytime you open a new slides presentation, up in the left-hand corner next to the icon, you need to go ahead and rename it so that it doesn't get lost in your Google Drive or wherever you're housing that. And if you're coming back to our basics training, you could definitely use this little move, the little folder to the right. If you didn't start within Google Drive and already have it in a folder, you can come up here and move that into a separate folder right within Google Slides. So I love that feature. All right, so I'm going to bring over another document or another slide to show y'all a different part of this. So Lynn showed y'all a lot of great examples of HyperDocs and just, you know, different ways for your kids to interact with choice boards and different things. So today we're going to kind of focus on some choice boards. So this is a Computer Lab choice board. This is something that I had created ahead of time, but I kind of want to show you a couple things in here. So this was a PDF. This is a choice board at this point. So we're going to talk about maybe linking some of this so your kids can, you know, Lynn showed you a lot of outgoing links, external links to different websites that your kid could have. And y'all, it's important, you could pop this Computer Lab choice board within Google Classroom and it's one assignment for your kids. So this could be something that you have in there all the time for them, and they would just be able, instead of going in and out of the links that you have, they can just come in here and say, oh, okay, let me come to my typing practice. Let me come, just trying to give you an example of that. So I'm going to delete some of this because I want y'all to see. So I'm going to delete that. And y'all, I hope you're paying attention because in just a second, I'm going to give you an opportunity to try some of this. So again, y'all, I'm wearing some of this insert stuff out. So I'm going to come up here to insert. And I'm going to come in here and actually do, let's do a text box again. So I click on my text box and I'm going to draw a big old text box like that. And again, who can tell me how I changed the background? Can y'all drop that in the chat for me? Who can tell me that? I'm going to come up here to my paint bucket and fill the color, and then I can actually change the border. Now I could have done a shape too for this, but I chose to do a text box, and I'm going to change the weight border by clicking on the lines, and then I like the little different style dashes that you could do, so I'm going to change that. Now I'm just hoping that that's the same size, right? So we just created a text box and change the formatting of that to create these boxes, to create this choice board. Or, again, you can select something in here. So I just went to the right and I dragged and I clicked all of it so it's all blue. And again, Control D, and I can move that. All right? Oops. Control Z to undo that. So y'all got that? All right, so let's do some external links. So I want them to be able to go to a typing website when they come onto this choice board. So I'm gonna come over here, and I have two monitors open, y'all, so let me just snag my URL to go to typingclub.com. And notice how I have I've selected this whole space. I have an invisible text box over this whole thing. So if I were to move that, do y'all see that? I just inserted a text box over the whole thing so that my kids, when they come in here, they can click anywhere in this box and it's going to take them to Typing Club. Now to insert a link, you can come up here to this toolbar where you can say Insert Link, and it's going to give you a little menu down here at the bottom, and I'm going to say Control V and click Apply, that yellow button Apply. And so now I'm getting a little preview of Typing Club. When my kids come in here and they click on this, they'll be able to see, okay, I'm supposed to go here. So that's a skill that you'll have to teach them. You can cover the whole space, or you could just cover the picture. So we've got this little quizzes icon, and I'm grabbing my URL from my other computer screen over here. And notice how I have that image selected. So I'm gonna come up here, instead of going to insert a link right here, I'm gonna come up here to insert link from that menu. And again, Control V and click Apply. So now I've got two different outgoing links, and I would finish doing this all within here, and I'm actually going to let y'all try this now. So I want you, so there's going to be two options of how we do this. The first way is we are going to, in the chat, I'm about to drop a link to this. I'm going to give you a template. I'm going to Control V in the chat. Now, here's the thing. Before I drop this in the chat, y'all, yesterday we had a lot of high traffic trying to access this. So if you cannot access it, I want you to close out and try it again. And if you still can't access it after a couple of attempts, I want you to try going and doing slides.new, and I want you to just insert a picture and link it to something. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that, and we'll be back. All right, y'all, I had a question in the chat. First of all, let me know in the chat which piece y'all did. Did you insert an image? Did you link it to something? Were you able to access the choice board that we shared with you? And I am actually going to show y'all really quickly, because this was a question in the chat, how to take a picture of your PDF. So it depends on what device, and I'm just going to assume that we're all on a Windows device right now. But down in the left-hand corner, first of all, I've got my PDF open. I hope y'all saw this email earlier, last week, I think. But I'm going to come down here to my Start menu, and I'm going to type in snip. And I've got a really cool snipping tool, and it's on your Windows machine. I'm going to click on the snipping. I'm going to say New. And notice how my screen kind of goes, it's kind of faded out. I'm going to come in here and just snip my PDF. And Larry's probably going to show you this on a Chrome device, I believe, later. So I'm going to snip it. Notice how the red is all the way around. And it pops it into the snipping tool, right? So I'm going to right-click over my snip, and I'm going to save this picture. So I'm going to say welcome back PNG. And I would just save it somewhere where you can find it, right? I'm going to click Save. And that's how you would snip it and get your PDF to be editable. So like you take a picture of your PDF on a Windows machine, you'll use the snipping tool. So I can't remember, Ms. Hollis, I hope that answered your question. All right, y'all. So in the chat, some of y'all did both. Y'all linked to quizzes. Cool, awesome. I love seeing some of that. All right, so let's talk about, we talked about external linking and how to create some of this, but let's come over here to a different choice board. Now, I know I have Ginger Watkins on here, y'all, and she kind of, back in the spring, she kind of shared some of this with me. This is a different option for a choice board for you. They teach, so Ginger teaches, I believe, kindergarten, right, Ginger? And I had a lot of primary teachers talking about how to make it easier on some of our kids. And y'all, I think this was a golden idea for multiple grade levels, not just our primary kids. And so we're going to talk about how you can kind of, instead of just linking to YouTube videos within a slide, but how to kind of connect some of this all together. So here we go. I have created, and I'm going to share this with y'all at some point. So again, y'all just took you took external links and you linked them to pictures. So in here, what I've done, I don't know if y'all noticed, this looks really familiar, these boxes, right? We just used that over here. Now, I can duplicate slides in here. I can also import slides. So maybe I want to change, maybe I have one massive template of slides, right? I've got a slides deck that has all of my templates in it. Watch how cool this is. So over here to the left-hand corner, I'm going to come up to File, and you've got this nifty option called Import Slides. So when I click on Import Slides, I can look through any presentation I have created, and I can take a slide and bring it on in. So maybe I want to bring in my Computer Lab choice board and click Select. It's going to give me the option to select. If I had multiple slides, I would be able to select which ones I wanted. And I'm going to select, you actually have to click on it where it turns blue, and then down in the right hand corner it'll say Import Slides in yellow. So it's going to pop that little template in here, so I can take it and I can change the background color, or I can adjust it as needed. So I've already done some of that work. So I'm going to select my slide. Notice how it's yellow, and I'm going to hit the delete key on my button, on my keyboard. Okay, so you can do File, Import Slides anytime you need to. Now, in here, I have used the Shape tool, I've used text boxes, I have used the bring in pictures options, but let's talk about how you can make it more interactive for your kids and make it a little bit easier so they only have one assignment. So I'm going to click on my little text box, and let's say I want to link this to a lesson that you've created in YouTube. So y'all, we just practiced this with the other one. And let's say I apply that YouTube video. So my kids would come in, they would do the YouTube video, they would listen to me teach my lesson, and then let's say I want them to listen to 3 lessons throughout the week. Well, I need a spot for them to easily turn something in. In Google Classroom, there is a place where you can say File and upload whatever picture. I know a lot of teachers had student work coming in all different directions through ClassDojo, through Edmodo, through different emails. And that got really tough really quick, trying to keep up with that and grading it all. So the thought process behind this interactive HyperDoc is for kids to come in here, listen to your lesson, and then give them a space to actually upload that work. So down at the bottom, we've linked pictures, but you can also link text. So I have a little spot where it says upload work here. I am going to highlight it, and I'm going to, again, you've got insert link in the toolbar up here. And notice instead of pasting a link or searching for something here, I've got an additional button down below it where it says slides in this presentation. So I'm going to click slides in this presentation, and this is a math lesson. This is my math weekly lessons, right? So I want to look over here to my storyboard on the left-hand side, and I'm going to look at what slide I want my kids to turn their work into. So I'm going to highlight that text and I'm going to click slide 3 and I'm going to click apply. So now when my kids come in here, they're like, okay, I've watched the lesson. I'm going to come in here and send you my work this way. So I'll click on slide 3 and your kids would be able to come in here and upload a picture or type out their response and have it that way. All right, so I'll do that again really quickly. Let's say I want them to do a writing lesson. I am over on my other screen, y'all, grabbing a URL. I'm going to click on the first lesson. I'm going to link it. This is an outgoing link. Oops. Click apply. So again, they'd come in here, click on this, and then maybe they need to turn in their writing piece to you. So I'm going to highlight that text. I'm going to right click, and I can link it here. I'm going to hit slides and presentation. And over on the left-hand side, I'd have to look for my turn-in spot. It's slides 5. So I'd scroll down, click slides 5, click apply. All right, so now I know my kids would come in here to upload work here and click slides 5. And it takes them to it. So you can do internal linking. Not only can you take kids out of the Google Slides presentation, but you can keep them in here. And y'all, this is just one example. Y'all could do like a choose your own adventure story. You could have them do different book club stuff. There's lots of cool ways you could use this internal linking. And in the chat right now, I want you to kind of tell me, what are you thinking about this? How could you use this in your classroom? I know that this could be used across all grade levels. However, y'all are the experts in your content area, so drop me an idea right now in the chat so we can kind of see some of that as we keep working through this. All right. I'm going to wait a second because I got to look and see how we can. Jeopardy! I love that. Let's see. I know that I've got a little bit of a lag, so I'm going to see that coming in just a second. Choose best work to submit. Yes, I can use this for interactive authors notebooks for my 11th grade reading and writing class. Love that idea. Practice constructed response and reading. Tic-tac-toe. I love that idea. Y'all, we're going to have to find a way to share some of these resources because I know y'all can create some awesome stuff, so we need to start sharing. Find the knife cuts. Cool. That's you must be in a consumer science. Let's see. I used it for choice boards, book clubs. I love some of these ideas. Thank y'all for sharing. Okay, so another idea that we have with this. So maybe you don't want your kids to go anywhere out of a Google slide. Maybe you want them to stay right here in this. All right, I want you to, create your slide, create your template, and then maybe you have your kids, first I thought this, and let's pull in a video from YouTube and actually have them stay within this screen. So I'm going to come over here to my left-hand side. I actually think I have a YouTube video over here. I'm going to copy my link. And I'm going to embed a video. So I'm going to come up here to insert, and I'm going to click on video. And y'all, you can search for YouTube content here. So maybe I want to do crash course. I know that's a popular upper grades one. And let's say, I'll just pick one, y'all. It's not going to be perfect. All right, supply and demand. I'm going to click. Now, before you click on this, you would have to do what Larry showed you, where you have to go in. Oh, y'all know later today we're going to be showing you how to approve YouTube videos in a different session, but if you remember how to do that from last year, you would make sure that this would be approved first for our county. And I think actually crash course videos are all approved already. You would come in and make sure that's approved before you actually embed this into your Google Slides. So I had to put that side note. So let's select this. And now it's going to bring in that video right within my Google Slides, which I love this. So again, you've got the blue around the edges where you can resize it. And I'm going to get it just right. There we go. All right. And then over to the right, because I'm still selected on my video that I just brought in, you can, this is a whole 10-minute video. Maybe you want your kids to just watch it from a certain point. Maybe you want them to start at 5 minutes in. So I can adjust where my video starts. So I love that feature. Now I can autoplay when presenting, and I could mute the audio, and there's different, formatting options down here, but this is the most important one. So now when I come in here and I click on play, or if my students click play, notice how it's already starting at 5 minutes. So I love that feature. I think that could be something really useful for y'all. All right. So now we've inserted a YouTube video. It's embedded in here instead of taking them out of it. I'm going to come over here to insert. And maybe I want to give them, maybe I need to read something. Maybe I need to read directions or read a passage to my kids. Or maybe you just want to read give them instruction and have them hear your voice. That was something that I feel like a lot of teachers missed, was having that personalized, having that connection with your kids. So some kids need that. So I'm going to come up here to insert an audio, and I am going to, recent. So here's my audio file. I'm going to just bring it in, and it's going to create a little audio file right here, a little megaphone, to where my kids would just come in here and click play. So your kids could actually hear you teaching whatever's on the screen for them. So again, you can adjust those. They can click on it, or it could automatically start playing when they click on the slide that they're working on. So you can embed videos, and you can actually have audio files in here as well. An idea for you, if you are thinking, well, how can I create an audio file? Y'all, you could create a YouTube video where it's just a black space and use that as well. All right, let me check to be sure. All right, another idea. So let's say I'm going to go to a different spot in my slides. And let's say a popular question yesterday, we've had a timer pop up at least once in this presentation today or in this training. Maybe you want a timer. Maybe you need to time your kids on something within Google Slides, and they could self-time it. So I'm going to click Insert, and I'm going to come over here to Video. And I told y'all you could search by terms, or if you already have approved a timer or a URL, I have mine over here to the right on my other screen. I'm going to click Copy. I can paste a URL in here too. So I know I've looked at this, I know I've approved it. You'll have to decide which way you search for your YouTube videos. I'm going to click Select. And I can make this timer as small as I want, up in the right-hand corner, wherever you want, and now your kids have the option to time themselves. Or maybe it's a lesson that you're doing and you need a timer. So they can come in here and click on that, and they would be able to time themselves. So that's a good way to add a timer. All right? So, are y'all ready to try some of that? I know that was a lot. So now I am going to share this with you, this template that y'all can use. Now I'm actually going to delete some of this and give y'all the opportunity to try it. So I'm going to give you your own copy, all right? So how did I make that copy button? If you used the choice board, the computer choice board, and you clicked on that link, it brought up a screen called Make a Copy, so you had your own. Now this is not for students. You're not making copies for students. If you are sharing these Google Slides with children, it needs to be through Google Classroom. Make your own copy. Like make a copy for each student. That's how you're sharing with students. Now let's say you're going to collaborate and use it with teachers, and you've made this great lesson for your kids and you want to share it with all your teachers. I'm going to show you up here in the right hand corner, there's a share button. We're going to click share. And down at the bottom, there's a little space called Get Link. Now you would have, mine actually is already changed. Yours will say restricted. If it's a new presentation, it would say restricted. I'm going to come down, and you actually may have more options. So right here, I'm going to choose Houston County Board of Education. You may have another option called anyone with a link. So I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to open a new tab, Control T. I'm going to paste that shareable link in the address bar. And at the very end, past the last slash, I'm going to take off this edit $USP equals sharing. I'm going to completely take that off. And I'm going to type copy at the end of it. Now I'm going to copy this link. And this is what you should see when you get this. I'm about to drop this in the chat. And I want y'all to go and access that template, and I want y'all to try something that we have gone over. So maybe you want to come over here and you want to link upload work to a slide that it goes to. Or maybe you want to work on embedding videos. Or maybe you want to work on still linking different images. I'm going to give y'all another 3 minutes to do one of those things. And if you can't access the template that I just shared, I promise you y'all we're going to share all of this at the end. Then you can just go into the choice board that you were already working on and add a slide. So I will show you, you can, if I come over here, I can come up here and add a slide, or Control D to duplicate it. So do one of those things, 3 minutes. All right, y'all. So I want to know in the chat what you attempted, what you investigated, that you just had time to kind of make and do in Google Slides. Did you connect or link something internally, like a slide to another slide? Did you embed a video? Let me see in the chat which one was your favorite part. Maybe tell me in the chat what your favorite thing is so far. with Google Slides that you've learned today, linked within a slide presentation. Awesome. It's pretty easy once you kind of get it down pat. Linked a video from YouTube for science. Great. I'm hoping that y'all are going to take this and work with it a little bit more and keep practicing, and definitely share with each other, because I know that is, teachers need to give teachers more. So locking a text box. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to lock a text box. But I definitely, especially if the kids are older, I would definitely be teaching those kids how to insert their own text boxes. If they delete something, or, do a lesson practicing some of that. Cool. So yes, definitely use that share filing with other teachers. I think maybe Teaching and Learning have spent all summer trying to create some resources for y'all. I know the K-5 coordinators are doing it through Google Drive, and then the upper grades coordinators, they have done Google Classroom. So when you're using that copy link to share with other people, that's just teachers, not with your students. Okay, cool. Awesome, y'all. All right, and before I pass it off to Larry again, I am going to show you something that is like so good, the Motherload. This website right here, hyperdocs.co/find. If you haven't seen this, I'm dropping it in the chat. Save this resource, because this is the Motherload. So I have tons of templates that you can search in here. So some ideas for y'all to use. Or, this is my favorite, samples of what some of this could be for you. So I know math is sometimes tricky to teach digitally. I'll just open this one up and show y'all really quickly. Look at all these examples. Look at all these examples. So fun, so cool. So you come in here, take a look, take a peek, get some ideas maybe. You could even make a copy of this by going to File, Make a Copy, and it would add it to your Google Drive. So this HyperDocs is a great resource for y'all to kind of investigate and, look into. So with that, I hope y'all enjoyed slides. I hope you learned something. Take one thing and try it. I'm going to pass it off to Larry now, and I'll be back a little bit later.
There we go. Sorry guys, once again, this little audio cable's being tricky this morning. All right, so we are back, and we're going to look into some advanced uses of Google Forms. And so we're not going to look at the basics of just how to create questions and things like that. We're kind of assuming you've already got that down, but these are really some, how can we take a form or a quiz and really take it to a whole other level with these activities with our students. So I want to show you, let's start off with just, I'm in my Google Drive because I like to make things in my Google Drive, and then when I'm ready, I bring them into Google Classroom for my students. So I'm going to go to New, More, Google Forms. Of course, Megan showed you, but you could type in slides.new in the browser. I could also type in forms.new in the browser and get a new blank form. So, give it a title. And my first question is always, I want my students to enter their name. I'm going to make it require. So I want this to be a quiz. So I'm going to go up to my settings. We're going to go to quizzes and be sure that it's marked to be a quiz. And these settings are kind of up to, do you want them to see their score immediately or later after manual review? You can swap that at any time. So maybe you don't want them to see their grades right away. And then once everybody's graded, you just open up the form, click that, and the student could log back in and see their scores. So I just want to be sure that really this is set to be a quiz as we go through this. So I want to show you, kind of go over examples of how to use videos and PDFs, because I know a lot of you already have worksheet, and it doesn't necessarily be a PDF, it could be a Word document or anything like that. You may already have a quiz made somewhere else that you want to use, how to use that, because really Google Form does not have any import feature. You're not going to import things from any test bank out there. The only thing you can import from, and there's a little import button right here, is you can import questions from other forms. That's it. So how do we use these various resources? So I've asked my students their name. So the next thing I want to do is I want to say, hey students, I want you to watch a video. So I'll say, all right, click my YouTube button. Y'all just saw this screen with Megan, right? So I need a YouTube video. So I'm going to go onto YouTube. I want to find this video. I want them to listen to some chill out music, right? But maybe this is an educational video. Maybe it's like a little 5-minute video on the water cycle, whatever it may be. I would completely preview it. Once I've done that, I would hit the approve button. Now that I've approved it, I can copy that link at the top, go back to my form, paste in the URL, there's the video, and select, and now it's in here. So I can say, please watch this. So there we go. So after that, add a question, and of course here would be, select the correct choice. Whatever your questions could be, and you could do, multiple questions if needed. Don't forget to go into the answer key, mark the select answer, give it its points that it's worth. You can add automatic feedback, so if they get it wrong, maybe it's please watch the video again. And I can link that video straight into the answer feedback. So URL, paste it in. So when a student goes back, and I've turned it so that the students can see their results, they'd be able to come here and see that feedback. If they get it right, great job. So that way there's kind of an automated feedback system there. All right, and so you could go on and add as many questions as you like. So, of course, this could also be, it doesn't have to be a random video I pulled from YouTube. It could be the videos we created earlier, right? It could be any video that's housed on YouTube you can easily bring in here and host. So let's click a little preview real quick. So here's what it would look like for a student. They could type in their name. They could watch the video right here. And let's see, so this video is actually, you see the error here, the owner of this video does not allow it to be embedded. So that's why that happens. And that's, if the owner chooses to do that, there's really nothing that can be done about that. But the student can just click there and watch it on YouTube. So no big deal. And then they can answer the question. So that's putting a video in there. So let's kind of go to the next step. What if you have a quiz already made? Maybe it's made in Word, maybe it's made in PowerPoint, maybe it's on a website somewhere, just somewhere where you can see it. So I have this one. This is a PDF, kind of like what Megan showed you earlier. And she showed you where you could snip the entire screen, right? And insert this into the quiz. So I'll kind of show that one more time. I'm actually just going to get this little paragraph and these 3 questions here that I want my students to have. So I'll go to the Windows button, hit snip, and there it is. Let's get my little cursor out, get just what I want. I want what they need to read and the questions. And here it is. So I want to save this real quick to my desktop. So save, desktop. I'm going to overwrite my last one, no big deal. And there we go. So now that I've done that, our next thing we're going to do is insert an image. I'll say upload, and it was on my desktop. There it is, open, boom. So now the students can read, but what do I need to do below that? They need a spot to answer those 3 questions. So let's put in question 1, and all I'm going to do is ABCD. And I'm going to duplicate it and duplicate it. So this is question 2, this is question 3. Don't forget on each of these, you need to go into your answer key and mark whatever the correct answer is. And you can go ahead and add that automated feedback, give it its points value, which I didn't do on this one. So you'll just have to be sure you remember, when you do this, you're giving them their problems above, and then you're creating answer spaces below. So let's kind of see what this looks like at this point. Click the eyeball, we've got the name, they can watch this video, scroll down, they've got a little paragraph, 3 questions. So they'd read question 1, they'd come down here and answer it. Read question 2, answer it. Read question 3, answer it. You don't have to type everything back out again. You just leave them spots to submit their answers. So let's see that we're going to do one more example of a snip so you can see, but we're going to do this on a Chromebook. So let me swap over to Chrome. And look guys, this time my Chromebook's actually working. And let's open up this same quiz that we were just in. I say that and look, I'm double clicking and it looks like I need to refresh my page. It may have timed out, but at least it's capturing the screen. Progress, right, every little bit. So let's double click this form and open it up. So here we go, and y'all see this is literally what we just created. It's all loading up on the screen. That's what's great about, you know, these things being saved in the cloud. So we want to get another photo. So this is, we're on a Chromebook. So for those of you who get a Chromebook from the district, here's just a PDF that's saved in my Google Drive. I'm going to go do a math example. So we've got these 9 questions here. It may not be a good idea to do all 9 at once. You might want to do like groups of 3 or even just single problems at a time, because it does get to the point where they're going to be scrolling up and down the page a lot. But if I want to snip on a Chromebook, it's 3 keys you have to hit. All together, Control, Shift, and the Windows key. Now, the Windows key on a Chromebook is different than the Windows key on a Windows computer. So in a Windows computer, the Windows key is usually down at the very bottom row near the space bar to the left of it. It looks just like the Windows logo. On a Chromebook, the Windows key is above the number 6 key up at the very top of the keyboard, about the spot the F5 key is on a Windows computer. So again, I'm going to hit Control, Shift, and the Windows key on my Chromebook. You just saw it go dark, highlight what I want, and boom. So it copied it, and it also says that, hey, it has saved this. So you can click Show in Folder if you want to. It just saves it to your root, your default Google Drive folder. So I'm going to go in here and let's insert that image. So let's get rid of this little pop-up. So insert image. Here's what's really cool about doing this on a Chromebook. I just took that picture. So if I go to my Google Drive and go to Recent, it's always going to be the first one because it shows you the last thing you did. So I select it, insert it, and boom, there's the 9 problems. So again, I could go below it and make my 9 questions, right? So question 1, and they could have their choice A, B, C, Ds, just like we just did a second ago. Now, something new I want to show you, just let me go into preview mode, because this was asked yesterday, and some of you may hear about an add-on called Equatio for typing in math. It works very intermittently, but I want to show you this, and so because I'm on a Chrome browser, this works on the Windows desktop too, you can right-click in a text box. It doesn't have to be on a form. You could be on Google Classroom, you could be on a doc, a slide, and when you right-click, you get this emoji option. If the emoji option does not appear, you simply hit the Windows key and the period key. And you see there's other choices across the top, but I want to show you on the Windows as well, just so y'all believe me. So let me swap back over to Windows. So here we are on the Windows. I'm going to refresh the quiz real quick. Show one here as well. I'm going to right-click, go to emoji. You see how it says Windows and period? Check this out, guys. I'm going to click on this symbols button. Look at all these math things that are in here. So there is just about anything you can think of. When you do double integrals, triple integrals, sure, have at it. All your different inequalities. And as you click through these different buttons down here, you'll find all kinds of different math symbols. So here's your brackets and braces. Let's see if we even go back. So if I need to do 4 emoji. So now I've done 4 cubed just like that. I can input fractions. So there is some math features in here that I thought that was a really cool thing to know about. So we're starting to get all this in here at this point, but you're seeing it's becoming a whole lot. And you think if I did all 9 of these questions below here, how much scrolling up and down that just made. Like, it's going to get crazy. This is where sections are important. So let's leave this. So let's break this up into sections. When you're creating sections, click just above where you want your section created. So I want this video to be a new section. So I'll click on my name, and then I'll say Add Section. And right here, so I'll call this my movie section. And then I'll scroll down, click on the last problem in the movie section, add section, and this is my reading section. So you can give it a title. Let's scroll down to our last question, add section. Or if you just leave it blank, and I'll show you this in a minute, you don't actually have to give the section a title. So I'll show you the difference. One thing I will tell you, if you are using sections, go to the gear, go to presentation, show progress bar. This way they know how many pages are left. So hit save. So again, that was gear, presentation, show progress bar. And let's see how much better this looks now. Let's type in your name. Now we see movie section. I can watch it, I can answer. We see reading section. I can answer, and you will have to answer all the questions because I marked them required before moving on. And see how this one doesn't have anything above this problem? Because I didn't name the section. So it breaks it up into chunks for your students, and I really recommend that, particularly if you're switching trains of thought or if it is a little bit longer. All right, so that's how we can use some PDFs, how we can use videos. I also want to show you a little bit more about sections and some really cool things you can do. So let me close that out. And we've got kind of two examples I'm going to walk you through. The first one is, hopefully everyone's familiar with Choose Your Own Adventure, right? You have a question. Depending on your answer, it's going to take you to a different page in the book. Well, this can also, the same concept is no different than, what if you're gathering information from parents? Maybe your question is, do you need to update your contact information? If they answer no, you don't need to show them all the parent contact information questions. But if they answer yes, you want them to see those questions. This is called branching. So what we can do, and I guess we can just go back into this one we just used, is, sorry, that's the wrong one. This one, I've already partially set it up. So this is kind of choose your own adventure type setup. So which way do you want to go? Notice it all says go to a section next to the answer. If you do a multiple choice, you can click on these three dots and select go to section based on answer. And then next to each answer choice, you can choose, if they answered this question, go to this location. So depending on which one they choose, if I go to north, I'm going to go to my north section. If they choose south, the students won't even see this. They'll go straight to whatever questions I have under south. So just show you that. So I'm in my north. Notice it does not have any options. So I go to three dots, go to section based on answer, and then I can choose anywhere else in the form, even just go ahead and directly submit the form. I can make those options. Let's turn that off. Another thing you can do underneath the section, you can just say, well, whenever they complete this section, I don't want them to go to south, east, or west because they chose to go north. So I want them to skip all of those and go straight down to section 6, whatever that might be. So you can skip that around. So maybe this is like a choose your own adventure. They're trying to get through, Indiana Jones type thing or whatever. They go north, they get to keep moving on. But if they go south, maybe that means that they, step on one of the booby traps, and that's the end of their story. So maybe if they choose south, it's just automatically going to end for them. So you can go section by section and set those up, and you can branch this and make it as big as you want. You really get crazy with this. So what a student ends up seeing, and again, hold on, I forgot my setting, guys. If we're using sections, presentation, show progress. So what is my name? Let's say if I want to go south, next, that's it. Because remember, south we set to just send it on to the end. So it's right here at the end, submit, there's nothing I can do. Now let's go back and do it again. Let's choose north. And here we go. So now it's going to take me to the untitled section. I didn't have any questions there, and then it ended there. But you can go different places depending on answer. So that's choose your own adventure style using branching. The last thing I want to show you, and this gets into, think about breakout boxes. I know there's schools out there who have spent a lot of money buying these. It's basically a system of locks. Every question is a clue. So let's set this up. So, our first clue might be what is 2 plus 2. We're going to make the first clue easy. And we're going to make this a short answer. I'm going to go to the three dots, and I want to choose response validation. You're going to choose regular expression, and I'll do this a couple times. Matches. The pattern is the correct answer, and the custom error text, this is if they miss it, what you want to say. So please try again. So after this question, so again, I will make a new section. So this would be lock 2, right? And so what is their question? Now I could maybe have them watch a video and then ask a question about the video, and the answer to that question is the lock. So maybe is, what county are we in? So we're going to make it a short answer, 3 dots, response validation, regular expression, matches, Houston, and maybe if they get it wrong, I'll say check a map. So here we go. So we put those in, and another thing I like to do on a response, or on these response validations, these kind of breakout type things, is if you go to the gear and presentation, I like to put my little messages, congrats, when they break out. So another place to use this, if you want to keep a quiz locked for your students until you're ready for them to see it, you can make the first question be some kind of passphrase that you don't give them until it's time to start. So you can make the first section be, what is the passphrase? So as a student, they come in here, type in their name. If they get the answer wrong, doesn't let them move on. But once I get it right, move to the next question. What county are we in? Why did that say check a map? Because I put in a lowercase h, right? It has to match perfectly. It's a capital H. Now I've broken out. Look guys, I just saved y'all all that money from having to buy breakout boxes. So there you go. So this time we're going to jump into looking at Zoom. So our district will be using Zoom this year. And so here's what if you may not have this yet, but it has been pushed out, so it is trickling out throughout the days. And if you don't have it yet, just be on the lookout for it throughout today or Monday. You'll be getting a Zoom icon added into your single sign-on portal. I know back in the spring it was in Clever. There's my Clever button. But now it's just going to be right here in your single sign-on portal. Students will not be getting this because they don't create Zoom meetings. Only you as the creator need this button. What's important to know here is you click on it, it'll take you straight into your Zoom just like that. You see how quick it is? You've got 300 people. There's not a time limit. What's important here though is your settings. You want to be sure things like your waiting room are turned on. You require passwords. All of your options, if you want to turn on the whiteboarding feature, it's in here as well to turn on. But guys, I will show you this. I'm not going to go over all these settings for the sake of time because we're down to just 20 minutes and Mike's got something way more interesting to show you than what I do. But on our digital learning site, we have a video that shows you all of the settings right there. So you can go through step by step to see what to set your settings at to make a secure meeting. So let's real quick, once you start a Zoom meeting for the first time, or if you've ever joined one, you're already going to have the Zoom app on your computer, but you can certainly use the online version to schedule and to start a meeting. So let's just start one real quick. Open Zoom meetings, and it's going to open it up. So here is the Zoom app. You see it in the background. Here's a Zoom meeting. I'm not going to join my computer audio just because I'm live streaming right now. And a couple things I want to show you. Participants is where you'll let people in and out of your waiting room, and you can kick them out if you need to. You can mute everybody right here. But really what I want to show you is the share button. If you have audio on your computer that you want to share, be sure you check this button right here. Here's where the whiteboard shows up. So if you need to pull up a whiteboard to do things for your students, it's right there. If you have a document camera, if it's one of the newer ones, so not the old gray boxy ones, you can click right here and display it. If you have one of the older document cameras, simply just choose to share your desktop. So once I share my desktop, it's going to share anything on my screen. So I can always open up the ImageMate software and display my document camera, or I can open up my view board, whatever that may be. So the big important thing here is when you create your Zooms, you're going to take your meeting link, which, since I've already started this one, I can click up here in the corner and grab it. And you're going to paste that into your Google Classroom for your kids to click on to access your meeting. So very simple. So you send them that link there, or let me end this real quick and wrap up Zoom. When you're online scheduling a Zoom, go back, you can simply get the meeting just by clicking. If you've scheduled it right here, you can click on the name of the meeting and everything's right here. I could easily send this link to my students in Google Classroom for them to click on and access the meeting. So at this time, give us a quick second to transition over to Mike Falls with some really cool stuff.
Just tell me when my mic's on. All right, thank you very much, Larry, for giving me a few minutes here. We're going to go over Google Earth here, let you check everything out. I'm on Google here, google.com. I'm logged in, of course, with my school email address and password. And we're going to go to the waffle here, click on it, and if you scroll down, you will see an icon for Google Earth. So I'm going to click on that icon, and Google Earth is going to open up for us. So it's launching now. It's going to bring us out to outer space where we're looking at Earth. I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to outer space, but that looks like Earth to me. So I'm going to go with this. Now, what you can do, the basic stuff in Google Earth, is you can search. So if I click on my little search box, I can go and search for museums, land features, any kind of thing that kind of pops out here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the Louvre. And I'm going to click here. Here it comes up here. So I'm just going to click on this. And it's going to start moving Google Earth here. It's going to bring me into Paris. And I'm going to be floating above the Louvre Museum. So here I am. It's got this little spinning that goes on. If you've noticed, you've got buttons down here. You can zoom out. You can zoom in. Just going to click on one of those, and that usually stops your spinning so you won't get sick or anything. So here I am. I've got my little message box here that gives me information about the Louvre. I can click on that. It'll give me information. One of the cool things that you can do is you can zoom in closer. Notice I've got an option here too for 2D and 3D imagery. What I really like is this little peg person. So my little peg person, if I left click and hold and drag that little person out here in the courtyard, you're going to see a number of blue lines and blue dots pop up. Now the blue lines, that is where Google has captured images, you know, kind of a street view image. So if I go over here and click on one of these lines, it's going to bring my little peg person to that location. And it gives me an image as if I'm actually standing there on that location. So now I can move around and I can see how big it looks like a garbage truck is. I didn't know that was part of the Louvre. But we have, you know, our image here, and I can spin around, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, and take a look at everything around here. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. Now, if I want to come back to that bird's eye view, I can click here, and it's going to take me back out to where I'm looking above this image, above the Louvre here. So I can zoom back out again. Going to show you something else you can do with your little guy here, this little peg person, if you will. I'm going to left click and hold, drag the peg person out here, and notice the little dots, little blue dots all over the place. I'm going to, well, actually, I'm going to bring him back for just a second. I'm going to zoom out because I want to get a couple more options here and show you what you get. So just going to drag here, adjust my viewing just a little bit here, because you can actually go inside these buildings. So let me zoom in a little bit. Let's try our little peg person again. So let's drag our little peg person. And notice on top of these rooftops, you have the blue dots. This is where someone has taken a 360-degree picture. They've loaded it here to Google Earth. So I'm going to land on one of these and release. and it's going to take me into the building, not on the roof. So here I am actually inside the Louvre. So now I can turn around, I can spin my picture around, I can look at the roof, I can zoom in to some of these pieces of art and look all around here. So it's pretty cool what you can do with Google Earth. It's not just simply a map. There are other features here that you can do, that you can use. I like Voyager. Voyager is one that has some pre-made tours built in. So I'm going to click here. And when I do this, it's got some things here that will take you to different locations. It's almost like a little PowerPoint within Google Earth. But I'm going to click on education. I'm going to scroll down and let you see some of the things that are available. And again, when this is over, you can always go back and do some searching on your own. There is one that I really like looking at. This is one for Lewis and Clark. So if I click on Lewis and Clark, this is one that was made by PBS. It brings me to an intro slide. It's got a little map here. I click Discover, and it's going to launch me on this little journey. And everywhere I see the red lines, that's their outbound journey when they went out west. The yellow would be their path on the way back. So I've got all my other options here. I can still zoom in. I can still use my Pegman on this screen. And if you notice in my little information box, it's even got a little video. So I could click on that. It's going to launch me a little almost 3-minute video about Lewis and Clark. Notice here it's got 1 to 12. I could click, go to a next slide or next location in Google Earth. And here's Floyd's Bluff. I can click on these images. It gives me a little bit more information here and so on. And it's got 12 slides already built, 12 locations. So it's actually pretty cool that this is pre-made and takes you through these different little locations. Now, another option that you have here is this little dice that says Feeling Lucky. When you click on that, it's just going to take you to some random place in Google Earth. Maybe you'll do this for a writing prompt or something like that. Now, another thing, feature or a nice little thing about Google Earth, so we've got where we can search anywhere. We've got our Voyager for our pre-made stuff, the Feeling Lucky. This one here is projects. So I'm going to click on projects. Now, just like I showed you Lewis and Clark by PBS, you can build your own pre-made tour or voyage right here in projects. So I could click New Project, create a new project. I can start adding features. So I can go here and search for a place and add that place to my project. Notice that it already has a button that says Add to my project. I can add a place mark. I can add a street view. It's all kinds of cool stuff you can do here within Google Earth. Now, as I'm saying you can do this, students can do this as well. So if you want them to build a little voyage, maybe it's battles or things like that, history you could use, or you could use earth formations, things like that. If you're talking about physical science, just a lot of cool things that you could use, and they can build their own project and then display that. And you can share it here. So if I click share, they can add other people who would have, could be collaborators on their project. When they're done, they can copy the link, send you the link, you click on it, and you can actually view their project. So it's really cool what you can do here. So Google Earth is not just a map. There's a lot of other features built in there. You can choose different styles of maps here. You can find distances between 2 points or the area of a section. And what I love about projects here, really great tutorials in there as far as their videos and things like that. Very short, to the point, very neat. All right, there is another thing here. I know I've got just a few minutes here, but there is arts and culture. And this site is, and we can probably get this pasted out into the chat, it is artsandculture.google.com. So I've got it open. I'm going to click here. And you will see when you go there, here's the home screen. They'll have some of their more popular things here. You can explore, you can search for things. There's things nearby. If you find something you really like, you can add it to your favorites. You've always got the little share button here, but you could go here. They've got all kinds of different museums. Walk around 5 iconic Parisian rooftops. If you click here, it will take you into that. And again, I can scroll down and see these rooftops. I can zoom in, see your little arrows here. So it's just like Google Earth. And if I scroll down, I'll have another rooftop I can look above. So all kinds of neat things that you can look around. You're actually on, or I'm actually on, the Eiffel Tower right now. So if you want to take a view of Paris off the Eiffel Tower, there it is. Pretty neat stuff that you can do there in arts and culture. Now I'm going to go back over here and we're going to take a look at maps. So I'm going to jump into Google Maps. Again, I can access this through the waffle, so I'm going to click on my little waffle here. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click on Maps. It takes me to where I am now. You know, I'm being in Perry. I do want to show you something that's really kind of cool. Of course, you can search for any kind of places. I'm going to click on, I've already searched in the past for Warner Robins High School. I'm going to click here because there's a neat little feature in Google Maps that some people are not familiar with. So let me just click on Warner Robins High School. It takes me to this location. I can zoom in, zoom out, all this other good stuff. You also have your little peg person. Drag my little peg person. Drop that little peg person right there at that intersection and release. Here I am. Here's C.B. Watson. Here's the gym when they were building on it. And here's Warner Robins High School. So again, you've got different views depending on when the little Google car drove around and took a picture. One thing when people drop the peg man on the map that they may not notice, and this occurs on some locations, not all of them, is a little clock. So here's my street view. Here's my clock. I click on that. It allows me to go back in time to other photographs they took. Here I am right now. My current view is August 2019. I can go to July 2012. So I can go back 7 years and see what it looked like 7 years ago at this exact same spot. There's Warner Robins High School. No gym. Spin around. Don't even have C.B. Watson at that time. And if you look way back in the distance, this view, I believe I just dropped offline. All right, so I'm being told I may be back online now. So I'm going to minimize my little search box here, just kind of get that out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the left-hand corner here, my satellite view. And I'm going to start zooming out. So satellite view is going to show you all that cool stuff. Now, as I start going out farther and farther, I'm going to expand my side panel. Whoops. I'm going to close this out because I'm no longer looking for Warner Robins High School. I want to do some new searches. Notice if I scan all the way out, or excuse me, zoom all the way out, and I go to search, it gives me other options. Like the moon. I could click here and it's going to show me the surface of the moon. I can't use my peg man. No roads. Apparently the Google car hasn't been out there yet to drive around to give me street view. I could even go to the International Space Station. So I could look inside and kind of get a view of what it would look like if I were in the International Space Station. I can go back, or I can expand my searches, get a little more information there. Close that out. I can go back to my search. Keep zooming out here, and as I zoom out, it's going to start giving me those options again to search and find different planets. So it's really cool to be able to do that. It's even got Mars, it's got different things right there. So all kinds of cool stuff you can even do in Google Maps that a lot of people are not aware of. So all kinds of different stuff. And I love me some Google projects in Earth and Google Earth. Love to be able to work with some students doing that. It's kind of neat, kind of gets you out of the normal little PowerPoint or Google Slides presentation. So with that being said, it's 10:28. I got Megan's going to jump on very quickly. She's going to get up there and
All right, y'all, I know this is gonna be really quick, but I have to share a couple more things with you. The first thing that I need you to take a look at some point today is Incident IQ. Whenever you log in next or within the next couple of days, please go into Incident IQ from Single Sign-On, and you should get this employee laptop agreement pop-up. What I need you to do is click OK. And then I need you to review the agreement. So when you review the agreement, I need you to read through this, agree to the terms, and then go ahead and sign it and submit. Now this is for y'all to receive those Chromebooks, so in the event that we need to use those, you'll have one. So be sure to go ahead and do this through Incident IQ as soon as possible for us. And you know that your Chromebooks are coming. So that's the first thing I need to share with you. The second thing, y'all, today's training was recorded for you to go back and view some different things. So I wanted to show you, this is our digital learning site that we've been building as we've gone out in March. There's lots of useful information. I know someone asked about the Zoom settings. They're on our homepage, but the big one I need you to take note of is there's a tab at the top called Recordings. And today's recording will be right here at in the advanced section. Now, you've got yesterday's ones as well, so you can look at those when those go live. The last thing that I wanted to share with you is that we do have a great resource called support.google.com. Should you run into an issue where you can't get a hold of us, or you just have a quick question that is over one of these products today, it's really easy to go to the support.google.com. And what I love so much about this is that it gives you step-by-step directions, and it does it from a computer perspective, an Android perspective, and an iPhone and iPad perspective. So sometimes they'll have screenshots in here and all of that. The last thing that we're going to ask you to partake in is our survey for today's training. I know someone's going to drop that in the chat so it's easily accessible for y'all. If y'all could just give us some feedback, maybe what you loved the most today. You could even drop some of that in the chat for us to All right, y'all, I'm going to review this Incident IQ thing really quickly. We had that in the chat. So you'll go to Incident IQ through your single sign-on. And when you log in, you will see a little pop-up. It should pop up right here. It says you have one more policy to review, employee laptop agreement. You can click OK, or you can go ahead and click on the actual agreement, the link, and it's going to open it. And right here down at the bottom, you'll read through this, you'll agree to it, and then you will have that digital signature right there. You'll click submit, and then that way you can receive one of the county issued Chromebooks for your instructional purposes. So hope that answered that question. Y'all, if you have any questions, again, email us at cis@hcbe.net.